Ta-da! Hello.
Hello.
It's been so long. Been
Too
so
long.
long. Too long is right. So, guys, hello. I'm like, how do we do this? It's like learning to walk again.
I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
It's like going to the gym again after a couple of years, and it's like, what am I
Yeah.
supposed to do? Like, what?
Yeah.
How does this
What
work?
am
Right?
I?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Do I throw this dumbbell at someone? Like,
What?
why is that guy swinging a kettlebell towards his nuts?
Stop it. Get some help.
That
How did
doesn't
we get
sound safe.
here?
That's hilarious.
All right, so we
Well,
watched the
for
movie. Sorry,
yeah.
go for it.
I was just
That
gonna
was
say
a
the
great
exact same thing.
movie.
This week, yeah. We haven't covered a Indian film. I don't think we
In a long time.
covered long time. And the previous one, I don't think was in the Tamil language. Maybe it was.
Hmm.
Maybe it was Telugu.
Telugu? What film did we
Telugu?
cover? I
It was a a
Yeah, with the
comedy
multiple
movie.
stories. And you had
Right.
like the trans woman
Oh, that's
and
right. That was Tamil as well. That is Super Deluxe.
oh, it is super dull.
Right, that one.
Yeah,
That one, that
that's
one.
Super
Really, okay,
Deluxe.
that
Yeah,
is Tamil.
yeah,
Yeah.
that is Tamil.
Loved that one. So when you recommended, and you're gonna help me with the pronunciation, Meiyazhagan?
So
Meiyazhagan?
the Z is an L said in like a weird way. It's a R instead of a La. So you
Ah,
guys
Okay.
can just say Meiyalagan, but it's
Meiyalagan.
Meiyalagan.
Meiyaragan. Yeah, yeah. But you can just
Okay,
replace the Z with an L and you're fine.
Meiyalagan.
That's right.
Meiyalagan.
Hey, look
Okay.
at
Yeah.
you. That's right.
Yay.
Yeah.
Meiyalagan.
So
Yeah, so that's a great movie. There's a bunch of stuff to unpack. Um, yeah, I was very pleased with the movie, and I had a bunch of thoughts. So, but I don't know.
Super
Whatever
heartwarming.
you
Yeah,
want
tell
to.
us why you picked this, Vikyat. I'm
Yeah, exactly.
one suspicion is because it's based in Chennai, where you're
it's based
located.
in Madurai actually. It's based in Tamil Nadu.
Oh,
But it's no, not even Madurai. Sorry, it's based in Tanjavur.
Right,
And
right, right.
yeah, it's based in a village near Tanjavur. It's not even in Tanjavur. I think it's
Have you
called
been there?
Nida. No, it's a small village. It's not like an important village. It's a every village. It's any village. Tanjavur is an important city where I've been, which has like this humongous temple, which at one point was the tallest structure in the world, and to this day it's huge. Like for something that was built that long ago, it's quite a big temple, and it's called the Brihadishwara temple in Tanjavur, or the big temple, which very unoriginally called, which is Periyakoil in Tamil. So that is Tanjavur, and this is like a this the story happens in a village a little far away, a little bit inwards from Tanjavur, and
they
yeah.
talk about Chennai though. Was that maybe
Oh,
where he was coming
that's
from?
right. Yes, he lives in Chennai and he
Oh,
travels
Chennai.
from Chennai. Yeah,
Well,
Oh, okay, okay.
that's right.
Is the place where he live in Chennai? He says Ma is with M, the city. Mali?
Chennai is the
No.
area. So
Uh-huh.
sorry, Chennai is the city. So
Oh,
whatever else must be the area within, because Chennai is the
like the
capital.
neighborhood?
So
Okay.
every Tamil film in one way or another will refer to Chennai.
And
So what
something
Gotcha.
happens in this film is that they leave their village, they move to the city because they've lost all their ancestral property and all of that, which we will get into. There are a lot of layers there, and so he's going back.
right.
So yeah, Chennai is just this little pit stop in the story for like the first 5 minutes and like the last 15 minutes, but otherwise everything else happens in Nidamangalam, that village that he goes back to, which is his native village.
Mm.
So
Gotcha.
yeah.
What
But
stood
tell
out
us
to you?
how,
Yeah.
right, exactly. How do you get to it? How do you get to it?
So uh, the the reason I remember this film for us SCQ context, Salsa Curry Queso context is we did past lives, right? Go Arthur,
Right.
everyone did him dirty in
Mhm.
that film. So,
Yeah.
so after when we watched that film, we talked about how there are certain parallels to a film called '96, which is an
Right.
Indian film
Yes.
about lost
Yes.
love and them meeting after a long time. So that film was made by the same director.
Ah.
Mm.
So yeah, that was his first film, and then he did like a same film in a different Indian language in Telugu, which is my native tongue, and then he made this film. This came out last year. This is quite a recent film,
Oh
Meiyarhagan.
wow.
Yeah. So
Uh-huh.
when we were doing past lives,
2024. Yeah.
yeah, 2024, and then I remembered this. I was like, oh, hey, wait, we should do it. So that's like the SCQ bit of it. But the reason I really relate to this film, and I might like I might not cry at dead puppies,
Huh?
but this I would let me finish, cat. I would. But what I mean to say is that nothing moves me more than the parts in this film where he loses the house and he is
Hmm.
distraught by it, which is an experience I
Right.
share. It's like this old house that he lives in and all of that. And then when I was really young, we used to live in this house, which is like a really old house, and then shared by family. So we had to. It didn't belong to one person that you could be like, just let's keep it this way or do something shared by family. In the film, it's about family conflicts. For me, it was that okay, we have to do this in such a way that we can share the space somehow. And luckily that is the place where the school is now, so it all turned out well in the end. But the idea that there is this big house which was everything you knew when you were a child, every nook and corner, and you
Right.
were a smaller human being for whom that house was your whole life and not just some place you lived for 7 years. Even if it's only 7 years, that is your whole lifetime. And then we had to demolish that house. That house doesn't exist anymore. So for me,
Hmm.
the initial part of the film, I watched it and I already was like, oh my god, this is going to be rough.
This is gonna destroy me.
Because
Yeah.
it's going to destroy me. because
Yeah.
because for someone else who's watching it might be like, okay, what the hell, why is he so emotional about it? But then in the film, for those who haven't watched it, the base of the film is that there is some family property issues, so they have to the protagonist's father has to hand over his property to his sister's family. And then because they lose the house, they also kind of lose face in that town. They can't go be renters in a smaller house, they can't do that. So in search of a quote unquote better life, they leave to the capital city, which is Chennai. But the protagonist, who's one would say in his late teens at the time, is very distraught by this because that is the house he grew up in. He's seen everything in his life through those doorways. Everything in his life has happened through those, passing one doorway through another and all of that. So for me, it's like, oh, because when they find out that that is the last day, he is not even there. When they're finally locking up, he runs away to a temple and he's just lying down because it's a lot to take. And the thing is that it's not even just the house. They've lost the house means that they've lost the village. They've lost the village means that they've lost everything. So this is such an overpoweringly harsh thing for them that they can't just go pick another house and all of that because it's a small village, right? Most people with what they have, they will build what they can and live there. It's not like you rent from someone else. That is not a city type scene. So they can't start over in this village after losing this most precious thing to their family. So they have to leave the village itself, and that means that they lose everyone. They lose whatever crop cycles they were following, and
Hmm.
whatever role they were playing in the village, that is gone. The relatives are gone. That's why there is like this very emotional send off between him and his cousin, the father's cousin. Like, oh, this happened. Why did they do this to us? And yada yada. And then they have to give away his bicycle because it's like, yeah, it's an old bicycle, and they're giving away everything. So this is basically why. I mean, there is a lot more I want to touch on, and there is a different reason why Two Popes and this film strike an important chord for me. We will talk about it, but this is the main reason. So this whole house thing, and the house being such a,
Mm.
oh, I grew up with this dog and this dog died kind of feel. Like, I will never again be in this house because someone else will live in this house, and I can't bear to go to that house as a guest. I'm never again seeing this. This is gone. This will stand here and will probably outlive him, but he will never again be allowed inside. So it is this
Mm.
very heartbreaking, gut wrenching thing that he goes through. And I'm like, oh my God, this film is going to not be fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's why.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I guess from the very beginning, yeah, like it's the first 10 minutes, super, like family's distraught. We've got what we later find out to be the main character, like, yeah, just very upset. But did they actually say why the family lost the house? Was it like a bank situation? Like they refinanced their loan or
Oh,
like defaulted on their loan or
oh, okay. One of anyone who's been born in an Indian family with more than a few siblings knows that property disputes are like an essential part of every
Indian
Indian
family.
family's life, because parents don't really do very clear estate planning, or it's not a very clear will. So it sort of goes on, and then they there's the that that clarity is not there. And there is also the more
Mm.
complicated angle that in this, the property dispute is also with his sister, because there's also complications there about, oh, when you marry off a girl, there's all this gold you have to give and all of that. So does that count as you taking property? So you have taken that, so do you get a share in this? It used to be that in the older set of things, it used to be, okay, after the marriage, whatever you need to give to her as property, you give in the form of gold, and that is done. But in modern times, it's like, in property they have equal share, but gold is something that you have given away, and it's not on the family tally. So
Mm.
if you don't properly speak the terms of, this is what you get, this is what you get, what ends up happening is, and both sides could be wrong, any side could be wrong, right? So there'll be arguments about, oh, you got all this gold, but then this property used to, the gold used to be this price, but it's now this price, the property value was that, now it's this, so I should get a little bit more. So it becomes all sorts of nonsense. And the only indication about that in the film is that his cousin goes to say, oh, some bad will come of them, or something like that, he begins to say. And the protagonist's father is like, hey, don't say that. It's a girl's,
still
it's
family.
our kid's family, our girl child's
Yeah.
family. Something bad might befall them. Don't say anything. So that's how he lost it to a female sibling, the house.
Mm.
And then it cuts to being like in this kind of like crowded city and this scene with the birds.
Ah,
So beautiful. The green birds are what are the do you know
Mhm.
what those birds are called or are they just
they're
kind of like
parrots.
Yeah,
they
they're
are
parrots.
parrots?
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I was like, is how common are these in India? Are they kind of like pigeons like here in the States? Like they're just
Oh no, I wish. Pigeons are pigeons. They're annoying. Pigeons are pigeons here too. Parrots are not that common, but in quieter settings you would find them. But this
Mm.
particular parrot situation, in the middle of the city, so many parrots being
yeah.
there is one man that is responsible for all that. It's a real story. There is one guy in Chennai that feeds like hundreds of parrots. So they shot that scene in his house. So there is a guy that
Oh,
actually lives this life, feeding hundreds of parrots
Oh,
in his house.
cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's an actual dude that does that. Otherwise, it's not that's not normal at all.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah.
But beautiful, like that colored green. It's like
Oh yes. Yeah.
so vibrant and
Yeah.
lovely.
We just call that green parrot green in India because it's such a like a
Yeah.
unique. Yeah.
Yeah,
Distinct,
yeah.
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 Love that.
Yeah.
Um, well, I guess as far as like just general stats, so you said the director is like C. Prem Kumar?
Prem Kumar. Yes.
Oh, okay, just okay.
Yeah. See
Um,
Prem Kumar. That's right.
but I mean, I know I know Indian movies are notorious for being long.
No,
Like,
this is longer than like Indian. Yeah.
Yeah.
What
so I
cut
think
did you
you
guys
told
watch? How long was yours? There is a longer cut. Which one did you
Oh
watch?
shit. The one on Netflix is 2 hours 30?
Yeah,
Two
yeah,
or 2 hours
that's
13?
not that's not the full. There's like a longer cut. Those scenes are not relevant for the story. They are more of character setting and living a little
Uh,
bit more in the character's life. So,
right.
but yeah, there's still like 30 minutes more of
Oh
content.
wow.
Yeah, yeah. So,
and our like I guess protagonist Arul. Um,
yeah.
maybe you can help me because for our listeners who may not know, all subtitles, which is encouraged because I think hearing the language is really cool.
Right.
Um, but our protagonist gets like a wedding invitation, and so he's kind of going back to his hometown. Um, I can maybe you can shed some light on that. Like, what was the friction of like yes, it's been a while since he's been to his hometown, but you could tell he was really trying to like get himself to go. Like it took a lot for him to go. Yes, there's that pain of like losing the house and stuff. Um, why didn't his wife go? Like, I don't know if it was just like a wedding, I'm gonna be there. Like for the vast majority of my family members, like unless there's extenuating circumstances, but I don't know. I think they made a point of like really showing how difficult it was for him.
So the assumption is that once they moved to Chennai, they kept to themselves because this
Mm.
not only is a very sad thing that happened to them, they also take it as an insult, right? It's a battle they won, it's a battle they lost to preserve something that is very important to them. So once they lost that, they never went back to that town. And for someone to be so deeply intertwined with a village for that long and then to leave and then to never visit means that it only gets worse and worse and worse. So the assumption is also that if you go to that wedding, you will definitely see the people that took your house from you. And
Yeah.
there are all these other people who will want to know, hey, what happened? And Indian
Right.
weddings, people will ask you just about anything. Like,
Yeah.
there is no such thing as this is a question you can ask and this is a question you can't ask.
Yeah.
Everything is
Decorum.
fair game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just it's it's obnoxious sometimes. So so uh so he has to go back to this wedding, face all these relatives who will have a ton of questions for him, and his dad is in no state to come, and they are going to ask this guy where your dad is, how is he, why did he come, he should have come, and he needs to do this whole circus with everyone because that's an Indian wedding. Nobody is going to think, somebody else might have done this whole charade. Let me not do it. They will take it upon themselves to restart that charade of being like, oh no, how have you been? Why have you become so fat? And like, where's your dad? Oh, you didn't come to see us. Which is what happens as well, right? They ask him, your dad could have come, we have all missed you. If they are there, so what? You guys should have come. So it's this really hard thing. He wants to go. He would really enjoy going to that place again. You see that child that he was carrying at the start of the film who cries
Mm.
and says, I
Mhm,
will
mhm.
go with them to the
That's
city? That's the one
Yes.
getting
The
married.
girl, right?
Ah, okay, okay. I knew I was
Right.
missing something there because that scene of him putting the jewelry on her was like so
Yeah.
sensitive. Like you get the idea, like it's not necessarily like a romance, like some kind of like they had a
No, no, it's
thing.
a
It was
brother
much
sister thing.
okay, yeah, it's like very just poignant. Like there's sadness there, of course.
Yeah.
Um, but that makes sense. That makes sense.
The jewelry thing is also that whatever, when there is like a good thing that happens to you, say a child is born or something like that, your brother is expected to give you something in gold as
Mm,
a well-wishing thing. So if you have a child, he'll be the one that will get you, like, your child a little gold necklace, a couple gold earrings for the ceremony, and things like that. So it's expected. So for him to,
mm,
after all these years, see her as a grown up in the village, and he brings all this, and for her it's very emotional. And what she is doing is really weird, by the way, because there are so many people waiting to get the
right,
photographs and all of that,
right.
and she's like, do it now, because she knows he's not coming back again. She knows, he only came because she blackmailed him into coming and said, if you don't come, I won't get married.
Yeah.
Like, so she knows he's never going to come, and she's going to milk it for all it's worth. So she's like, put it on. And it's also, first of all, it's really rude to open that. And he is a
Right.
little conscious because people will talk all sorts of things. If it's too less, they'll be like, oh, he's the brother, he's done too less. If it's too much, they'll be like, oh, he's showing off his wealth. So this is something that's best done in private, or if she's already wearing it before she got on stage, so that you don't know which came from which relative. So at least they'll talk later. So she's
Right.
opening it in front of everyone, and he is awkward. They are awkward, but she's like, I don't care about any of this. My brother has come after a long time. This is my moment, and I'm going to. That scene was so hard to watch because it is on
Ah,
some level cringeworthy, because this is second-hand embarrassment, right? Because
right,
everyone's
right,
waiting,
right.
because you have seen these situations. It's very loud. So many people are waiting, and there are hundreds of people at Indian weddings, and she is taking her time. It's so hard to watch. It's like
Interesting.
nails on a chalkboard, but you
Yeah.
still are like, you appreciate her stubbornness for being like, no, my brother's never going to come back, I'm going to have this moment. Nothing else worked the way I want, but this will be exactly how I say. And the husband is really nice about it, and so that's like an additional this thing. He's just enjoying, he's smiling and whatnot. So that's like the context of
So I
that.
do have a question there.
Yeah.
She is the cousin, right?
She's a cousin. She's not his own sister.
Right, right, right. Now,
Yeah.
I did watch it with subtitles. The subtitles
Yeah.
were in Spanish. Um, and throughout the movie, I noticed, at least in the subtitles, they used a lot the term brother when
Mm.
Ha.
talking to him. Even what I am thinking, these are not relative people, not family people. Like even the little lady towards the end when he's escaping from his friend's house
Yeah.
and he finds this woman who's selling fruits
The
and
flower
stuff.
seller. Yeah.
Right, right, right. She also said brother.
Yeah.
So is that a common is I don't know if the translation is just that,
Yeah.
but in
That's
the main
the same in
language is a
English.
different thing. Um, how is that? Like, because that got me confused at some point with the cousin that's getting married.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
Yeah.
because right at the beginning of the movie, she's hugging him and she says something like, "I want to go with my brother" or something like that. So I was like, why is she staying with the uncle? Right? Like, why is she not going with him? So that threw me just a little, and then I found out, okay, they are cousins. But is that
Yeah.
something? Is that a good translation to how you refer to
Yes.
people?
It's
Okay.
the best they can do, because the challenge is, for example, I have a sister, and my uncle has a male child that is about my age. My sister calls me Anna. My
Mm,
sister calls him Anna. Okay. And if there is some other random stranger that is helping us out, serving us, is like driving the cab or something like that, the respectful way of addressing him is also Anna. So it's just this older male character,
mm,
and
uh-huh.
it's your brother is Anna, your cousin who is an older male is Anna, and a stranger who is an older male is also Anna. It's all Anna. It's the respectful thing. That is what I would do as well. I have a cousin, I call
Okay.
him Anna. It's just it's the same for Tamudu also. Tamudu is younger.
Uh,
So
5 minutes later.
so okay, and also the slight complication here is that
we differentiate between cousins a little differently. So if your father is male and that child is born of his male sibling, you call them Anna as if he is your own biological born brother. But if the child is born of your father's female sibling, there is a different word for that. So there is a slight distance because you don't share a family name.
and
yeah.
one last
Makes sense.
question. We are clarifying clarifying aspects for the movie. Um, when he arrives to the wedding, the first person he speaks to is this woman who said like, "Oh, I wish we got married." Uh,
Yes.
who is she?
Yes,
That to
good
this
question.
moment, I'm still thinking, who are
Yeah.
they family?
She's
Because
a
I
distant relative. She is
okay,
related to him. She is related
okay,
to him. And those marriages do happen. And yeah, she's a distant relative of his. We don't know
but
exactly, but it would
right,
be fair to assume that she's a
but
distant relative.
she doesn't appear in other parts of the movie, or can we assume she's part of the group that he spent time when he was living there? Towards the end, when he's
Yes.
remembering, he's speaking, right, and you see him with a set of kids,
Yep.
like guiding them and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay,
It is likely that she was closer to his age because the kids are much younger than him.
right, right, right,
So they are like, more than like about like 10, 12 years younger than him at least. So
yeah,
she might be someone else who is closer to his age, and
right.
in which
Mm,
case they wouldn't be roaming by themselves because it wouldn't
mm,
be considered proper. So because of like the whole
yeah,
uh so yeah, so hers is like this little bit that is just a way of, because there is no resolution to that scene. She doesn't
yeah.
gain
There's
anything
not.
from it. The story doesn't progress because of it. But it's an important piece of context setting, because what she is saying when she says it would have been better if I married you, that part is the joke. But the serious part is that if he had stayed, he would have shared in these woes. He wouldn't have to find out about her fuck all marriage 10 or 15 years
Ah,
into her marriage. She would have someone she grew up with and knew in her childhood to share with as it happened, because it's a small village. There's nowhere she's going, right? It's not like she can just get rid of this man and easily move on with her life. That's not an option. This is a place she's stuck in. It's a small village. It's considered extremely taboo to get like a divorce unless he's really like
mm,
patently bad. Like he's like he can be an awful person to you emotionally, and that would be no basis for a divorce. So she's really stuck, and the only way she would get this out is by talking and having these conversations and all of that. And he missed this whole part of so many of his dear friends' lives, because your cousins are your friends and your friends are your cousins when it's that small a village. And also you're likely to mingle with your own like
mm,
caste and all these things. So it's likely many of you are in some way or the other related. Someone on your side of the family married someone on their side of the family. It's not like your first cousins necessarily. So these people. So he's missed out on that. So that is the
mm.
only reason they are just rubbing it in, that he was not there to experience this part of
Yeah.
her life.
Mm.
Yeah. This poor guy just wanted to, attend a wedding, and then, and then this happens, and then enters the guy that, like, for the life of him, he doesn't know who it is, and then the film takes a whole other direction. It's no more about
Right.
him. The protagonist of the film changes almost.
Yeah.
Because it's he's the receiver now, the one pulling the story, the one doing everything to move the story is
Right.
someone else. And for the life of him, he doesn't know who this guy is. And he can't, without really truly offending him, tell him, hey, I don't know who you are. This guy comes up to
Right.
him,
Is
blindfolds
that
him with
is
his
that a big
eyes.
thing in the sense that is that a real? I mean, well, I'm not saying it's not real for me, but maybe in Mexico that might not be. I mean, yes, we do have the same sensation of like, fuck, I forgot the name of this person, but I don't think it's such a big deal for us to ask, right? Like, just to say, listen, I'm a moron. Sorry, I forgot your name.
Yeah.
What's your name? Like
Yeah.
as simple as that. But I wonder if for like
Yeah.
in India, is that a huge disrespect?
So the it is not a huge disrespect. Okay, so here's the hero's problem. The hero's
Uh-huh.
problem is that he doesn't know if this is an acquaintance or someone he
Right.
held dear. So, how I would describe it to someone who doesn't have the context of it is, say you had a really skinny friend who you were best friends with in middle school, and then he moved to a different
He got
town.
fat.
You guys didn't exchange
Right.
phone numbers, and then he comes to you as this adult who is obese. Like, this dude is big, and like you sort of know it's this guy, but you're not able to tell. And then if you identify him wrong, he's going to think, oh my god, I've changed so much, I've gotten so fat that my best friend from middle school can't recognize me. Like, that is how
Mm,
badly. So he would take it as an affront to his self image and all that, right? So in this case, that person would take it as an affront to their relationship itself. How could you
yeah.
forget me?
That
Because,
that's what I did get.
yeah,
Though maybe not for the physicality, but
yeah, in this case it's not physical, I'm just giving you the context of
right.
like how it could feel. So I'm like, it's me, right? How do you not know me? You could at least guess, you'd get it on the second guess, maybe you don't remember my exact name, but you should know what I am to you, because it's
Right.
not about the
Right.
name.
Right.
It's about, like, we had so much. You're the person that basically changed my life. We had such fond memories. You
Right.
should at least know, hey, you're that guy in the blue shorts. You're such and such uncle's son. So it's not
Right.
about the name itself. You should know that we had a very special relationship. So he doesn't, and because it's such a small village, the hero is also conflicted that, is this just some random guy that used to deliver milk to our house, or is he a very near relative? Because it can just be the milk guy got very close to the family and, is helping them do stuff in the wedding. Things can happen. It's a small village, you have to help each other. So he doesn't know. So he's like this in this conflicted state, and the fact that he is this awkward puppy makes it things a lot harder. And then,
Right.
yeah, which is, and the fact that it is someone from the village, and he feels like it's his fault that he didn't keep up. And then it keeps
Mm,
getting progressively worse, because with every
right.
interaction, he knows that this guy really knows him. He knows everything about him. He's talking about every detail. And then,
Oh yeah, not opening in his mouth in the bathroom, like so
Yeah.
random, like very specific. Like I thought that was so funny. He's like throat infection. I don't want a throat infection. So,
yeah,
and also it's like this conflict of personalities. Like
Uh-huh.
I guess I want to call him Atan because that's what
Atan,
he's
yeah.
Uh-huh.
called the whole
And
time.
then
But you know, he's reserved. Of course, he's like very unsure of where he stands with everyone around, and he's probably comes off cold to a few people. Meanwhile, his we later find out like cousin um is just like the goofiest, like wholesome, like dork. I don't know. He's just like this goofy character that it you think it's gonna like unnerve or like irritate a ton. Like it's and I think it does, right? Like it's like this sharp, like kind of smoothing the edges of a stone. It takes like another stone. I don't know. It's just
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um and I think that's also what gives the film a lot of depth too. Like, yes, there's the mystery of the name and what are you to me? Let's see how this unfolds. And like, yeah, obviously, it leads to his house and yeah, all of that. But it's also just like two characters who are so opposite. I mean, I there's so many films that come to mind that kind of follows this premise of like, you know, yeah, just one's like kind of stuck up arrogant, maybe, a little salty, cold, and the other one's just kind of like happy go lucky, like
Yeah.
fun, and consistently comes out on top because it's like this relationship, how they approach the world is just kind of this fun loving attitude, and it's okay, we'll get the next one, kind of like,
Doesn't mean
yeah, just positive mindset. But it's yeah, kind of you want to underestimate them. You want to think that it's like, oh, this person's maybe like not educated or
right, right, right.
whatever.
Yes.
And yeah,
Yes.
it's so far from the truth. This person has incredible depth as the movie prolongs or, progresses. Um, but yeah, I mean, I guess, so we're at the wedding. After the wedding, they go back to his house. I want to call him Potato.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Potato?
To potato sauce. Yeah.
Yeah, we learn about him. We meet his wife, see his house, learn about some cobras. Uh, but yeah, I guess like for me, that scene was where we saw the other side of Potato. We saw him as a bit more of like a whole human. Even his wife being so generous and like and just warm and loving and yeah, just generous both with Atan, but generous with Potato too. Like just
Yeah.
letting him, oh, we go drink in the backyard. Like,
Mm,
Yeah.
I
Yeah. The-
really
you know,
enjoyed that part.
like to me, the movie, or for me, the movie, I think it's really about um like this journey of Atan of losing himself to finding himself. I mean, in a way, it's clear, but I think Potato serves the purpose of like for him to look at, in a way, what he lost, but also helping him reconcile the reality that is not all lost. It's like it's not lost forever. Like, right? Like you still, you can still come back and you can still move forward, and you can still have this, and you can still be this person that, in my opinion, well, I'm gonna, it's just that I forget his name, but let
Arul?
me, no, 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 no,
Um,
Potato.
Oh, potato.
I know it's the name of the movie. uh it's just the pronunciation. Meiyalagan, right?
That's right. That's right.
Meiyalagan.
Yelligan.
Meiyalagan. um I really think it's just like he really serves as this mirror for Atan to recognize himself again after many years of being lost, right? Like many years of not knowing. Because and I've never explored this idea of how much of an impact can a physical place like your house um, impact your own subjectivity and your own understanding of yourself, right? Uh, like it does have an impact, especially as you said in a young setting, which they acknowledge in that very first part of the movie in the when they are leaving the house. Like I think his father's brother tells him, right, like to his father, like, dude, like he doesn't know, like, this is all he knows. And
Yes.
you know, like you might need to be mindful of how much of an impact this is going to have on him.
Yeah.
um yeah, yeah, to me Potato is an incredible character. And you know, the dialogues towards almost like arriving to the final part, the whole scene in his house, all the dialogues, and that is like s- beautiful, you know, and especially his dialogues. I mean, Atan doesn't speak that much either
Yeah,
way.
he doesn't.
but
Yeah.
but
He
uh
doesn't.
but but Potato does, right? Like in a way, he has such a way of speaking as well in his personality. The details, I don't know, it was so refreshing to hear a voice that is not straightforward. um I was I saw an Instagram reel or something the other day about how, I think it was a director or whoever, and they were saying about how Hollywood movies these days, they've lost part of the creativity of even taking some risks as making movies, in the sense that there's so many scenes nowadays that explains you the movie, right? Like they
Mm.
people feel that Hollywood is now treating, you know, like audiences as
Like we're
kids.
stupid. Yeah.
Right, exactly. They explain
Yeah.
you everything in the dialogues. They give away the whole point so that you understand
Too
what's
much
going on.
exposition.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Without leaving that space for the audience to also wrestle with their own understanding or things that could be ambiguous about the movie. Um, and I think but anyways, what I was going to say is just it's so refreshing to see um, dialogues being created in such a way, even if it's a monologue. It takes you in, right? Like it properly takes you into understanding context without just giving you away stuff, right? Like it really brings you into it. And I think that's the beauty of that character as well, that allows Atan to go back into that part of himself that he lost in the city. Is really the is really it's just how Potato is, right? Sorry, I'm keeping saying Potato. It's just the name. I'm not there. Meiyalagan. Yeah. Like it's just his own way of it. I don't know. Great character, beautiful character. I think they
Yeah.
crafted that character. I want to be his friend.
You're my friend now. We're having soft tacos later.
You know, I wish I had a Meiyalagan. I have Meiyalagans, but not like that, right? Like
Yeah.
I wish I find somebody like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's so beautiful, to Kat's point about, you think, he's uneducated. He's portrayed as this like annoying, bothersome village idiot, right? Because he's like, oh, he's so pushy. He doesn't let Arul do what he wants. He's like, no, he makes him miss his bus, and he's
Right.
just so pushy to the point, like, hey, you're an adult, like, why are you this pushy? And then you go to his house, you hear his stories, you realize he's basically like the Indian version of a cowboy, because he's into this bull. He's into
Yeah.
this, what we call, jallikattu, which is
Ah.
where like there is like money or something like that tied to the bull's horns, and they try to retrieve it.
Uh-huh.
So yeah. So like you're supposed to subdue the bull, and then you'll win a prize. Sometimes there's something tied to it as like a special gift or something like that. and it's a very big thing. It's a very big thing, especially in southern Tamil Nadu, uh, in certain parts. So they show that, and he has a very ferocious bull that he, with his other uncle, is training and all that. Who calls the protagonist's father Attan, because those guys are related the
Mm,
same way these two are related.
okay.
So they are cousins the same way. And you realize he's actually this very tough guy. He's like, it's just a snake, it's just a cobra, it's fine. The cobra is a senior. It's lived in this house before I
Yeah, yeah,
got it. So
that's
he's like, this guy,
cool.
he doesn't care. He's not scared of anything. He has like this huge and those oxen are big, by the way. I don't know if you could tell from like the film.
Oh
Those
yeah.
are some dangerous creatures, and to be doing all of
I
this,
mean, cobras are a thing. Yeah.
and cobras, of course. And the bull that he has, oh, it's magnificent. So he's doing all these things which are so contradictory to how you might assume he is, and the way he talks about these
Mm,
things. And
right.
it's fantastic how they've written that character, from just this annoying guy that's just running around doing things in the wedding, just making himself useful, acting like the whole village is his. You think he's just a show-offy guy, but then you go
Yeah.
and he has a sizable house for the size of that village. He has a
Oh yeah.
sizable house, and he's got his
A
like own
beautiful
setup and
house.
every a beautiful house, and he has his own bike and everything. And in that village, these are marks of status. And so he's got a wife that's expecting a child. He has a
Mm.
great life. This dude is sorted. And then
Yeah.
they sit down, and then they have a little to drink. And then for me, the movie just reaches escape velocity to a point where I cry again in the film when I watch the film. Is this thing he talks about the bicycle?
Mm.
Ah,
Talks about
Yes.
how the bicycle that
change his
this
life.
guy gave away because he doesn't need it anymore. It's really
Right.
old. And then it completely changes his life. His dad was not so well to do. They get the bicycle that this guy gives away when he's leaving the town, and his father gives it to this guy's father, who we only know later on when he tells the story.
Mm-hmm.
And then he starts selling saris or something, going around in the bicycle, which makes a big difference. You can't walk
Oh
Mm-hmm.
sure.
from village to village and sell. But if you really are buying saris, and if you can go to the next village, which is maybe 10 kilometers, which to us is nothing, but he can't keep walking those kilometers. But if he had a
Mm-hmm.
bicycle, he suddenly can, go to all these villages, go door to door, sell. Suddenly he has a viable business. Suddenly he's thinking about sending his children to school. How can the children go to school? The school is not in the village. They also have to travel. How do they travel
Mm-hmm.
for school? They travel using the same bicycle. They use the bicycle, they go, and then he says, the first day he asked me, can you take care of your brother? Will you guys be fine? And this guy is not old enough to put his leg over the seat. So he puts it from under the frame and he cycles.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a very standard model of a cycle, which has like this triangular thing. So it's a straight frame. So if you're really short, you can't ride that because of the height of that. So you put your leg from underneath and then you cycle. So he's a child who his dad asks, can you take care of your brother? And then both of them go on that cycle, and he says, I don't know what that man thought that day, but
Mm-hmm.
once I brought him back home safe, he never
He
asked
trusted
me
me.
about anything. He
Mm-hmm.
never questioned me about anything, because I, in his mind, was an adult.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes him a different kind of person, because his father trusts him absolutely, which is a big
Mm.
thing to have in a society where parents are typically overbearing and want to
Mm-hmm.
keep advising you till their last breath, because what if something goes wrong?
Yeah.
It's a society of minimal resource. So
Mm-hmm.
every parent really wants you to not make mistakes. Don't make a mistake is like the whole Indian parenting ethos.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So in that in that minimal resource environment, for a parent to trust him like that, he is being raised like a rich kid would be raised. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I trust your judgment. That is not something a poor kid can afford. A poor kid can afford only, we only have limited money, don't fuck this
Mm-hmm.
up.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
So for him to say, I trust you, you can take care of your brother and all of this, is a sudden,
Right.
that really shows the kind of person he's become, because he knows
Mm-hmm.
he's got this. So to go from a poor family, he talks about his family, right? When Arul comes to the house and he's like, "Oh, is this the house you guys lived in?" He's like, "Oh, no, no. We lived in a house where we had to all be cramped right next to each other because there was not, that was the whole house. In one corner, you'd cook. There is no washroom. You have to go outside, into the fields and, take care of business." And that was the single room house that I grew up in. So from there, for him to become this person and for that cycle to do that, and then the way he tells that story, and then he talks about his father, and then he starts tearing up, and his brother also goes to college. One has to assume Meiyargan didn't, but his
Mm-hmm.
brother has gone to college, which is the reason he's not in the village, which means that he's away making better money. One
Mm-hmm.
is bound to think. So
Mm-hmm.
his life turned out probably even better financially, because if a school is that far, imagine how far he has to go to college. It's a whole other world, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But the college thing is more of, do you have money to go to college, because you'd have to take a bus and go to Tanjavur or something and do college. So their whole life changed because of this cycle. And
mm,
then you really start understanding the value of things. Just
Mm-hmm.
one particular thing, one simple change, and about how so much in life can change. And even for someone who might question the thing of, why does a house move you that much? Look at this steel frame on two wheels. If this
Mm-hmm.
can do that to a life, imagine what a house can. Because that is what they tie it up with, right? Because they're drinking by the dam, they're talking about it, and he's like, Atan, let it go, they've taken it, why, move on and all of that. He is like, what if I told that to you about your cycle? You know what that cycle is to you, that is
Mm-hmm.
what that house is to me. So you can't
Mm-hmm.
tell me that. And then he gets really angry, and then you're like, that makes sense. That is what the house is to him. And about how the whole family's life has changed. He doesn't have to raise his children in a single room house. The child that is going to be born is going to be born into this house that he can't run the entire length of when he's a child, because it's such a big house. And he has animals, and he has cobras too for no reason. And yeah, and the story of the
like
cycle.
when
Yeah, yeah.
oh, just on the note of the cobras and Meiyhagan, he's on the phone with Atan and they're talking and he sees the cobra while he's walking in his backyard and he just salutes the cobra.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's such a small little thing, but it's like
Yeah.
it just
Yeah,
another one of those like
yeah,
little nuggets that tells
yeah,
you who
Right.
Meiyhagan
Right.
is. Like
Right.
this
yeah,
respect
Right.
and like
yeah,
camaraderie with
yeah.
something that could
With the
easily kill him.
cobra.
Yeah.
Yes. And
You
the-
know, I I
Hmm.
I went to this weekend. I went to see my grandparents after 10 years, and they live in a town in the middle of the mountains, between two states. There's only one road across the mountains, like it's pure curves all the way. And they live in one of the towns in the middle. Ahorita, gracias. Um, they live in the middle. It's called Chapulhuacan, which is like a town of grasshoppers. There are incredible grasshoppers from all sizes and colors there. Like big ones, right? Like huge shits. Um, but it's a rural town, right? I mean, there's barely some internet. My grandfather now watches YouTube. It's so cool to see him watch YouTube. But it's a very rural place. And I only spent one day. We went to my father got a new car, so he gave his old car to his sister, who lives there, and we just went to take the car to her, right? So left on Friday, spend Saturday there, come back on Sunday. Um, but the one thing that I mean, I got a few things out of that trip, but the main thing that's been in my mind is it's the idea of ways of being, right? Um, think about this. I haven't been there for 10 years, but I had a similar experience as the one in the movie, right? Like similar to Arthur's experience in the movie, in the sense that I went back to something that reminded me of how easy it was for me to navigate this world, and also having this contrast of how complicated it is for me to navigate it after 10 years, right? After growing up and whatever I've become, I am now, it's not as easy for me to enter the world that I used to just live in, right? Like just being there and not noticing certain things, like how greasy is the food, or how clean or unclean are certain things, or how organized or disorganized is the house. Um, yeah, like that used to be a great place to have it in, um huge house they have, but it's in bare bones. It's not finished. It's a town, right? Like things are unfinished. um they accumulate a bunch of stuff. There's spider webs in certain places. There are unclean corners because it's just parts of the house they just don't go anymore into. So it's just there, right? Because it's a huge property. They have a it's not a, it's like a motel, right? Like
Hmm.
they rent rooms for people. Um but yeah, I don't know, but as so anyways, I it got me thinking, like being in the shoes of Atar, like this whole experience of not only going back to something you remember, but going back being a different person, and also maybe feeling this frustration. I feel this is also why he feels so conflicted with Maya Lagar. Maya Lagar? Maya. Fuck, see, I told you the name is still not there. Maya Lagan. Yeah.
Meiyalagan.
Maya Lagan. Um, because I also think Atar feels that it's a place he cannot inhabit anymore, and he might feel that frustration as well, right? Like just being how the way he is, and the way he is also a result. The way Mealagan is a result of where he lives, right? And as well the story we get to know, like this whole story of the bicycle and his father and the changes and everything he's been through has made him this guy that salutes a cobra, and he seems so alive compared to what Atar might see in himself, right? Like this very dull and boring and serious and unexciting life that you may have in a city. So I kept thinking about that on my way back as well. Like I spent a day in the mountains. Like there's no high scrapers and like concerts to go to or fancy restaurants, and they have such a great way of living. The most important part is like, what are we gonna eat? That's all they care for. The question is always, what are we gonna eat today? What are we gonna cook? Anyways, that was the whole point. Like, I had now that I think about it, I had a similar experience to Watar, going back to this place after
You met a
10
long
years.
lost cousin. Forgot his name. Rode
I
a
wish,
motorcycle
I
across.
wish,
Yeah.
I wish I had a my elegant in that place, but no.
Yeah. You had
Um,
a guy who seemed very close to you, then took you to his house, then you lost a kidney when you woke up.
yeah,
It's a whole.
Woke
And
up in
then
an ice
turns out
bath.
yeah,
he's in
Yeah.
the kidney harvesting trade and he's not your long
yeah.
lost cousin.
Yeah.
Um, but anyways, yeah. I forgot what we were saying before I intervened with this whole thing, but um,
I I want to add to what you
yeah,
said about how the place
right,
makes a person, and the same is true of Meiyargan. Uh, the, the very interesting thing about that is when Arul asks him, "How are you like this? How are you always
ah,
this way?" And then he says, "I learned it from you."
right, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because that is the person he was before he lost that house
yes,
and took it upon himself to hate the world. And it happened at such a pivotal moment, and so much was taken from him that he becomes this
yes,
other person. And then you
yes,
realize, oh, he says, I learned it from you. This is how you were before you left the town, before you left the village. And then you're like, oh my God, that is fantastic. Imagine
yeah,
Arul being that kid, that is so generous, with his time and, with everything to all these kids that, are a menace to their mothers who just wanted to gather at their relatives' place, have traveled from the nearby villages and come. And then they're like, Arul, can you take these kids out? And then he makes them form a line. And he's like, we're going to go buy vegetables. And each of you is one vegetable. So that is the kind of person Meiyaragan is, and that is what Arul was, and that is who he learned
right,
it from. And Arul is not that person anymore, but for him to realize that is such a heartening thing because it has been lost to his own memory that that is who he was.
Mm.
That's
and
the,
it only
yeah,
takes he cannot, or in my argument would be that uh, he would not be able to remember all these things on his own. Like it
yeah,
really takes to have another, right?
yeah,
Like that's why I think it's a mirror of a life he lost,
yeah,
and such a vivid way to to just reconcile your own relationship to that past when you see it embodied in someone, right? It's not you and your memories and your own thoughts of what it could have been, but you see it embodied, you see it realized in the world, and it's there, and you just and it's such a hard thing. Like to me, I don't blame him for escaping at the end of the movie when, well, towards the end when he
yeah,
runs away from his house.
yeah,
um like I cannot, maybe now more than when I was watching the movie, I can really understand now why somebody would panic about it. Beyond about the name, right? But it's like you had such a hard night, in my opinion. Like you
yeah.
just you're like you've been interacting with this harsh reality. Um, yeah, yeah, and yeah, but yeah, beautiful, beautiful thing. Yeah,
One thing that stood out to me was like, I think there's a delicate balance that whether it's the writer, director, editor, combination of all three, not only was the movie well paced, but in these really, I don't know, sensitive or like emotionally packed moments, it it didn't slip into your like telenovela, like over dramatized melodrama kind of like, like it was kind of right there for me, but it was very
Yeah,
intentional and it stayed authentic. Like that
mm-hmm.
when Arul was putting the jewelry on his little cousin at her wedding, like it was done with like care, and I think he was feeling a bit of shame too, just for having been gone for so long, and this is the first time that they're seeing each other, and it was tense, but it wasn't blown out of proportion or overly dramatic. That was one thing that I really appreciated about the film, was like that it stayed consistent in its delivery of emotions, if that makes sense. Um, but yeah, I wanted to. I am curious to learn a little bit more, Vic. Yeah, like having not seen the full length version, you talked a little bit about the
The extra
additional
scenes.
scenes, yeah, that are more so kind of like getting to know the characters a little bit more and not as critical to the storyline itself. Like, can you share a little bit more about that?
So the additional scenes show Meiyalagan's true. The additional scenes show Meiyalagan's true depth in that they show his real intellectual depth. So to the point where it could feel a bit shoehorned, because what
Mm,
happens in one of those is that they have a long night after they drink and all that, right? They drink in the backyard. So before they go to the dam, there is supposed to be another scene where they,
Mm.
or after the, no, this is after the dam. They get like the drinks, etc. And after that, before the temple scene where they start singing randomly in the middle of the street, there's supposed to be a scene where they are sitting in the field and they're talking about things. They're talking about things, and this particular one, I don't remember exactly what it is. He talks about some girl that was mistreated, or something like that. It feels totally random. And then he starts talking about the history of the place. He starts talking about how we need to own certain parts of our identity, how we need to come together as a village, how we need to know the oneness of community and things like that.
Mm.
But the way he starts it, he mentions some news about some girl that got abused, or something like that, something odd like that. So it feels a bit off. But he talks about the idea of, we are all one. If you look at our history, it's such a great history. And also especially Tanjavur is the city that has that temple, right? That big temple I told you about. So if it had the biggest building in the world at that time, you would have to assume that is the capital of this vast empire that stretched across the seas all the way to Indonesia and all these other places. Which is the reason there's still a lot of Hindu influence there, which is part of the reason why there's still a lot of Hindu influence there, because the Chola kings were very, very influential. So he talks about that history. He talks about how we don't know that history, we don't take pride in it, and all these things. So that is part of it. That is one scene. And another scene, he goes to this old like temple almost in ruin, and then he sits in front of the temple and he's talking to the deity. It's just him. He doesn't even take a
Mm.
role. It's just him, and then he's sitting in front of the temple and he's talking to God, and he's talking about, imagine how beautiful this place would have been. So, and all of this, what that means and things like that. And what happens towards the end is that when Arul is leaving the town, he sees that temple that he mentions. And so that's like a callback. He's like, oh, yeah, this is the temple he was talking about that once great temple that is, now. This is not that big temple, by the way. The big temple is still well, and it's still phenomenal. This is like a different, smaller temple that once was very important, but now is in a state of ruin. So it
mm,
just goes into a very, it almost becomes the director's voice reaching out to people of Tamil Nadu and those areas about, remember your past, honor your past, be
Mm.
proud of your identity. So it does feel a little shoehorned, and I for one am glad it was removed from the film. A couple of those scenes might have added, but it's a little too lecturing.
forced. Oh, okay.
Mm.
Yeah. So it would mean something for Tamil people who have context, but for the film itself, I don't think it does much.
Mm,
Yeah. Oh, and then there's a third scene. These are two scenes, and the third scene is just a little bit more about how Arul goes back and how it's hard for him, and things around that. His interactions with his wife, which is another fantastic character because she knows him so well, and she says just the right things at just the right time. Because he's like, I don't want to go, I won't go, and all that. She's like, you have a daughter. Do you not want anyone to come to her wedding? She's just teasing him. She's nudging him. And he finally opens up to her that, I'm actually thinking of buying the house we are in. I'm planning on making an offer. And they speak with this part is in the film, right? They call Meiyargan and
think so.
tell him, he's like, you must take money from me. How will you not take money from me when you're buying a house? I'm going to put her jewelry, and take a loan out, and I'm going to give that money to you. How dare you not take my money? And then he's like,
Oh,
fine, fine, I'll take the money. You guys saw that scene, right? That is in the
yeah,
film.
yeah. Over the phone.
Yeah, over the phone, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it just is like, yeah, it just shows that they now are in touch again, and they're again deeply intertwined one more time, like they would have been if they are in the same village. The music is also done really well. For example, when he is going from the house, when he's leaving, and then there's this song that is about Yaro ni in Yaro, which is I wonder who you are, etc., etc. That song is fantastically done. It's
Mm.
sung
Mm.
by a very, very senior veteran actor called Kamal Hassan, who is like this amazing talent, who's like a director, producer, actors, one of the greats, the likes of which we'll never see again. He sings that song in this like very unique voice of his. He's so lost. He's wearing chappals. The chappals are not his. They fall off. Then he leaves them on the street. Then he picks them in his hands. He doesn't know what to do with them. He's running around barefoot. Women are looking at him weird. The ones that are sweeping their porches in the morning. And it's like this whole, that part musically is really well done.
Mm.
Yeah. Alejo, you were saying something.
Um, I was going to
Melodrama,
say
music.
no, yeah, the melodrama. I felt the movie was also a very refreshing mixture of not even a mixture, but I think it was very well or very playful with setting certain scenes and setting certain tones and just mixturing them. Like a nice balanced soup where you do get this melodrama and very very well done melodrama, but all of a sudden something changes, right? Like the tone changes, um the scene changes, the seriousness of it changes, and you're just as an audience, in my at least in my experiences, you're like, ah, like, okay, okay, like, oh, right, we're now here. But I was very pleased to be taken into, like different flavors without much. It has a structure, but it also felt sudden. So it was like I was pleased to see a movie like this.
Yeah.
Like yeah, like because usually movies nowadays are very like, you know, you you
Yeah.
you I've seen myself very very good nowadays with certain movies at predicting what's gonna happen.
Oh
Right?
yeah.
Like, oh, I know. Okay, yeah, I know the next scene is gonna be something like this and this.
Predictable, formulaic.
Right,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
this was I was very surprised to see like the lengths of scenes, right? Like
Yeah.
or the seriousness of the monologues getting into the bike. I was like, whoa, nice. So anyways, I thought that was a very good choice from the director to
Yeah.
maybe think of a movie with this mixture where there's room for not so much. Yeah.
This makes me want to watch Super Deluxe again by uh Prim Kumar. Just
Super
to kind
Deluxe is
of
not Prem
see.
Kumar.
Oh,
Super
that's
Deluxe is
not.
a different
Oh,
director. Prem Kumar's is 96.
oh, 90. You okay? That's right. The one that's like
Yeah.
the one
Yeah, the
Alejandro
past
was.
life,
The
love
Lost
Past
life.
life.
Love thing. Yeah.
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 Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Now I gotta watch 96 though because
Right.
really liked how this
It's
film was
beautiful.
arranged. Yeah, it was really well done, very well thought out. So
Yeah.
yeah, great recommendation, Vic. Yeah.
Thank you, Kat. Thank you. You wanna go,
And
Alejo?
sure. I think it's a movie. I don't know. To me, the main thing is it's a great movie, I guess. Or a great movie that depicts this real um experience we might go through in some ways of another's as adults, into recognizing or dealing with our past, confronting those versions that sometimes in our heads are just, these what if I did this, or who would I have been if I didn't, or if I did, or if I didn't do something or made certain choices. um and it's very beautiful to realize that uh it is, you might confront, hopefully, in your life, an experience similar to the ones in the movie, where you find someone that shows you, or not only shows you, but gives you permission of being somebody once again. What I think happened to Atar, right? Like, through Mayalagan, he found the permission, the right, like the permission, meaning like he allowed himself one more time to be somebody who was, and to maybe find that person inside him, even if he's another person today, right? Like, he is who he is today, but to find that little younger self, and to be okay with that person. um so in a way, I think this movie what did an excellent job, putting that into a movie and into a story. And yeah, it's a great movie. It's a great movie. Great dialogues, great characters, great everything. Great choice. Great choice. I was very pleased to see it.
I'm glad you guys liked it. I was worried about the time and the drama part of it. But Kat,
No, it was
thoughts?
beautiful.
Oh no, I thought yeah, like here lately, I've just personally been more partial to movies than TV shows because
Mm,
TV shows, you might have like two, three seasons, but each episode is an hour. I don't know. It's just like I want movies can play such a powerful part in call it the short stories of yeah,
mm-hmm,
right. Like you get to experience a whole story in one sitting, ideally. Um, but yeah, kind of concurring with what Alejandro shared, like music, the actors, the setting. Um, yeah, I thought it was really well done. And for me too, it did not go where I thought it was gonna go.
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Um,
me neither.
yeah, and yeah, I think it's also just a really great way to experience the world too, is like through film of other countries. So I thought it was lovely. Would love to watch 96 to get more of like, yeah,
we
Prem
should. We should.
Kumar's
Yeah,
um just yeah, his work. But I would say that walking away from it, the film is definitely encourages just knowing your history, like knowing your family, knowing where you come from, and no matter where that may be, kind of taking pride in it and also recognizing how what seems small to you actually made a huge impact on someone else's life, like the
Yeah.
bicycle. Um, I think are some of those like I dare to say that these are like universal lessons. Um, so yeah, loved it. Would watch it again. 10 out of 10.
And I would say even more for today, right? Like, I think it's becoming harder and harder to find these moments, to find these people, and like even these little contrasts between who you become in a city and or as an adult, beyond moving, if you haven't had the experience of moving, this experience of growing up, feeling you're an adult, boring lives, which I think is more common nowadays, right? Like it's
Yeah,
harder to find enjoyment and excitement in today's adult life, right? Like it's just hard to find it. um so I think this is also a good reminder of there's different ways of being, like, you could be a Cobra guy, right? Like you can be friends of the Cobra, and you can still, right, like these people, they still exist. Anyway,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And what are your
I
final thoughts, Viket?
Yeah. So I, for me, the thing that this film does fantastically, in such a beautiful way, is the same thing. Is the same reason why I like Two Pope so much. Is that it is such a beautiful portrayal of male friendship,
Mm,
because it's so spot on. Because these guys are talking about such random stuff, but then so much is unraveling. They're not exactly, sitting holding hands and talking about this is exactly how I feel, but they're drinking, talking nonsense, singing random songs. But then there is that
mm,
one moment which removes this knot of a lifetime for Arul, and then that suffices for him to make this like huge change. And it's just this like keep talking smack till the point where it becomes deep for you. Think about a male friendship and how guys
mm,
talk, and it's just about random shit all the time. I really like that about the film. And
mm.
it's beautiful to be able to watch a film that you don't know where it's going. It doesn't
Right.
really resolve what you thought was the central crisis. It's not like he gets the house back or he goes to the house and heals that part. No, 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 it's very close to how it would happen in real life, and it's still beautiful. It's very Pixar-ish in that way. Like
Mm,
the resolution is
Yeah,
what
yeah.
not what you thought would be the resolution, but it's a good
But the
right.
one
resolution
that he
anyways.
needed.
That he
Yeah.
Ah,
needed.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 So yeah. So yeah. Thanks all for watching Meiyalagan and listening to us. 96 is a much easier watch. It's We will see you guys next time on Salsa Curry Queso. This yeah.
Sometimes, like, the drama of like
Yeah, yeah.
walking or, yeah,
Yeah.
you're right about the music. Yeah.
But
And there's
uh-huh.
yeah.
No, no, go.
It sounds like a food truck. Bye
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
Maybe our logo should be a food truck.